Stugotz here. Diehard batteries are like the rare breed of athlete that always plays with a lot of power, but you can also depend on to be on the field game after game. You ask me, that's the type of performance you want under your hood. So head to Advanced Auto Parts, where you can get the reliability, durability, and power of Diehard with free testing and installation from advanced team members. Advance your auto at Advanced Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See stores for details.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
All right, so you heard him right. Football is minutes and days away. Football is going to be there in a second, but before we get to shots over here, Christine Lisi, my apologies as always for interrupting you. What were you saying, Christine Lisi?
And finally, bad news for Dan. Researchers from Harvard University found that having no friends could be as deadly as smoking. Aw.
That is sad. I want to, do you still have in front of you the update that you just read moments ago, Christine? Do you have it in front of you? I do. What were the three things that Steve Nash brings to the Brooklyn Nets?
Let's see. Leadership, basketball IQ, and playing innovation.
Yes, that is exactly what he brings. Thank you, Christine.
I'm your friend, welcome. Dan.
Thank you, Stugotz. I appreciate it.
I
think these jokes are getting cruel and not caring about accuracy. I have a couple of friends.
Not the one you want. But
Aaron Schatz with us now on ESPN Radio. Please help us understand, Aaron. Thank you for being on with us. Please help us understand what Tom Brady has left according to the metrics. You're the head of Football Outsiders. You're an ESPN NFL analyst. What's left there?
Well, I hate to be kind of in the middle of the road here, but something. I mean, he definitely is not the quarterback he used to be. He doesn't throw deep as often as he used to. His accuracy, even on the short stuff, isn't what it used to be. But some of what happened last year was bad receivers, so he's going to have much better receivers in Tampa Bay.
It's been a while. Sorry about that, Mike. It's very clear, at least from my perspective, that Brady was upset because of the lack of receivers and offensive weapons in New England. I mean, look what they have put together. I don't know what he has left either. But if he has enough, that offense with those receivers, those tight ends, those running backs, that's the best offense he's been in quite some time, no?
Probably an underrated offensive line, too, and an underrated defense. So there's a lot of good stuff going on in Tampa Bay. I feel like I have more confidence in what Brady has left, though, than I do in what Rob Gronkowski has left.
Who is the favorite in the AFC East?
We narrowly have the Patriots, but it's really close between them and the Bills. The Bills are our number one best projected defense this year, but we just have no confidence in Josh Allen.
Cam Newton is going to be what in New England?
He's going to be Cam Newton, the same Cam Newton you saw pretty much every year except 2015 when he won the MVP, which is a good quarterback, but not a great one, struggling with bad receivers, just like he struggled with in Carolina.
Is there a better coach right now outside non-Belichick division than Shanahan?
John Harbaugh.
What do you expect from the Baltimore Ravens this season? What's the evolution of Lamar Jackson going to look like?
I mean, I doubt they can be quite as good as they were last year because teams just aren't that good 2 straight years on offense. But as long as they're better in the playoffs, it doesn't matter if they're not as good in the regular season.
A team that wasn't very good. We always have one or two of these, as you know, Shots. A team that wasn't very good last year that you expect to take a big leap this year.
Oh, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were a really good defense, and as long as Ben Roethlisberger still has something left in the tank, they'll be so much better on offense. Worst offense in the league last year.
Billy, what do you have for Aaron Schatz of NFL analyst for ESPN and Football Outsiders?
Thank you very much. Everybody celebrate my birthday by going to Football Outsiders and buying the Football Outsiders Almanac, which is our preseason guide, which you can buy right now. We've got you covered. FootballOutsiders.com does fantasy football projections as part of our FO Plus product, and you'll find them in the Football Outsiders Almanac too. So that's my marketing plea.
The quarterback you expect from year one, year two to make the biggest leap, Kyler Murray, a guy like that. I'm looking for a guy who's going to really be like an MVP type candidate this year.
Oh, we're really big believers in Kyler Murray, especially with DeAndre Hopkins to help him.
Anthony, what do you have for Aaron Schatz? You don't need to explain it. What do you mean? You think you need to explain to Schatz what you mean by thunder and lightning?
I will go with Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray in New Orleans.
Wow.
Would you pay any of these running backs? Would you give up a first-round pick for any of these running backs? The whole thing has changed so quickly here, Aaron, where I'm sitting here saying you got to pay McCaffrey, you got to pay Elliott, you got to pay Gurley, you got to pay Gordon, and I'm always wrong.
No, yeah, it demonstrates that paying a big contract, second contract to a running back seems to never work out. And one of these times it is going to work out, and everybody's going to point to that and go, look, it worked out, and forget about all the times that it didn't work out, and then people are going to stupidly keep doing it.
What are you looking forward to seeing in terms of the way football is going to be executed during a pandemic? The television viewing experience, what's going to be weird, what's going to be different?
How it impacts home field advantage to not have fans in the stands, and how teams deal with audibles when there's no crowd noise.
Wow, you went super specific football dork.
That's my game, man. That's what I do.
That's my game.
So how do you expect the audibling to change with no fans?
Well, clearly it's going to be easier if you're the visiting team, right? There's not going to be home fans making it so you have to shout louder or make physical movements to send signals. So, I mean, theoretically it should lower home field advantage, but it's going to be interesting what we can hear on the broadcast and whether they're going to pipe in fake crowd noise on the broadcast or in the stadium. I don't quite know how they're going to do it.
The team out of the AFC that can make it to the Super Bowl, not named the Chiefs or the Ravens.
I'm still going with the Pittsburgh Steelers if Roethlisberger is at least average because their defense is really good.
Help me understand something. Again, Aaron Schatz with us, head of Football Outsiders and ESPN NFL analyst. I don't know if you can answer this question because I don't know how the pandemic is going to affect anything, but the bubble in basketball is working. Baseball, What's going to happen with football and the virus? Like I thought we'd see basketball games where there would be hiccups and guys would be missing games because of this virus. That has not happened. What's going to happen, best you can tell, in football in that regard?
So far, it looks like the NFL is doing a much better job than college football of having players limit their social activity outside of practice, which is limiting getting the virus. But I have a feeling at some point during the season, someone's going to get it. There's going to be an outbreak on some team. And I would say, don't be surprised if we make it through this year where not every team plays 16 games.
Yeah, that's how can they possibly come through this clean? Like that would be improbable mathematically, would it not?
Yeah, it would be improbable. They've done a great job so far, but just believing that everybody can hold out from social interactions for 16, 17 weeks. You know, your wife goes out grocery shopping when you're at practice and you come home and maybe she got the virus at the grocery store. Random things are going to happen. So I don't think that they can go this clean for the entire year, but they've done a great job so far.
We're in Miami, as you know. I'm trying to get Chris Cody and the Dolphin fan base excited. Your impressions of Tua or what? You expect him to be what?
Oh, I like Tua a lot. I don't think we'll see that much of him this year. I think if they want to compete this year, then Ryan Fitzpatrick is the way to go. They're a really well-run franchise. I think they're a year away from seriously competing, but they did add a lot of defensive talent in the offseason.
Aaron, thank you for being on with us. Head of Football Outsiders, ESPN NFL analyst. Appreciate the time, sir.
Hey, thank you. I'm pumped for the season.
Pay that man his money.
Don't really understand at all why Stugotz and Chris were so excited
You're
about
away.
some of Aaron Schatz's answers. No, but you reacted very weirdly with what can only be described as effervescence because he had the Steelers as a sleeper. Like, I don't, like, you were pumping your fist away from
Mike
the
and I took the over. I mean, that's what we have, the over in total of wins. That's why I was so excited when he said the Steelers.
Somebody called the Dolphins a well-run organization.
It's been a minute since anyone said that.
Over 2.3 million people are in jail and prison today. Black Americans make up 40% of those incarcerated, despite making up only 13% of U.S. residents. This is not an accident. It's a consequence of decades of bad policy decisions. As we address systemic racism, we must address the crisis of mass incarceration. Joe Biden promised an ACLU volunteer that, if elected, he'd reduce incarceration levels by 50%. We need him to follow through on that promise. A commitment now to release anyone who has served half of a drug sentence would send a signal that he is serious. The ACLU believes our criminal legal system is broken, racist, and unjust. Our next president must fix that and can start by releasing those hurt by the misguided war on drugs. Paid for by the American Civil Liberties Union, Inc., rightsforall.org.
Volvo helps protect what matters most, your family. The Volvo XC90 SUV offers a range of advanced safety features, like an available built-in booster seat for your kids' safety and comfort, and a blind spot information system that has your back and alerts you to cars in your blind spot. Wherever you go, summer safely. Explore exclusive offers on the XC90 during the Volvo Summer Safely Savings Event. Visit volvocars.com/US to learn more.
All right, so some of that stuff there that Stugotz just mentioned, BS, Big Suey, local hour today, there's some good stuff in there. We talk a lot about the Miami Heat, and also David Sampson, the former Marlins team president, can be very illuminating on a bunch of stuff that you might not know, so check those out. But before we go any further, I need to just stop and try to explain to the audience what just happened during the break. Because it was a cacophony of Stugotz with also an emotional and defensive Mike Ryan. So I'm going to try to explain what just happened during the break. Mike Ryan asked me to check with the Heat on this X gesture that Pat Riley has been making to Jimmy Butler. And so I checked on it, and the answer from Pat Riley was nothing there. Quit paying attention to every little thing. So I wasted Pat Riley's time with Mike Ryan's question. But Mike Ryan became super defensive, and he's like, sorry, Pat Riley. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that we're bothering you. And that's not the funny part, though it was funny by itself. But what happened next was a conversation that Stugotz started and had totally by himself. And this is how it went. And I started writing stuff down because I found it so amazing.
No one responded. It was weird.
And no one responded because I was just listening. But Stugotz, not talking to Mike Ryan, says the following, okay? And I'm not making this up. This is how it happened, all right? He goes after Pat Riley by just saying to no one in particular, I've been saying for years, Mike Ryan, that Pat Riley needs to get over himself. I've been saying for years. And then this is what comes out of his mouth. And maybe that's why he doesn't like me. And then just muttered under his breath to Pat Riley, who can't hear him because we're in a tube at an abandoned hotel, I'll let you know when I care that you don't like me. This is the conversation in his head. But then right after that, Mike, nobody said anything. There was not a statement made by anybody. It goes straight from, I'll let you know when I care that you don't like me, to Fizdale looks good. Max looks tired. He's just firing observations in every direction, fighting everyone who doesn't like him. It is amazing to watch these conversations. This is what it would be like if a sports fan was immediately put in an asylum and just was wandering around and off their meds and just random scattershot thoughts. I don't care who doesn't like me. I'll let you know. You tell me.
I don't know.
If you were walking right now on Ocean Drive and somebody who was clearly unhinged and had no home and was arguing with themselves, if that person said to themselves with no context, I'll let you know when I care that you don't like me, would you say, yes, that's a person who should be in an asylum?
Yes.
It does kind of feel like Stugotz is in Riley's head, right? Like he did leave the wedding before Stugotz got there to not run into him.
I'll let him know when I care. I mean, seriously. I don't know what's going on with me, man. I care less and less as I get older. I used to care that Pat Riley didn't like me, and now I could care less. I don't even know why he doesn't like me.
I gotta be honest. When you say the phrase, I'll let you know when I care that you don't like me, it kind of feels like you're worried about someone not liking you. I don't think the articulation of that by yourself in a studio where you're not sure anyone's actually having a conversation with you is actually not a mask for your insecurity. Arrogance disguised, disguised as bravado. Insecurity disguised as bravado.
I mean, you're right. I've always wondered why he doesn't like me. And so perhaps you're onto something. It bothers me to my core. Like, I'm a season ticket holder. We've had him on our show. I've shared my platform with him for many, many years. He's one of the greatest guests in the history of the show. He's one of the greatest coaches. He's from the same neck of the woods, and I just can't understand why the two of us don't see eye to eye or get along.
You're not a season ticket holder anymore and
I
haven't
used to
been
be.
for 5 years. I know that because I bought your season tickets.
Oh, yeah.
And you scalped all of your tickets during those 2010, 2014.
That's the reason. That's it.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up,
good night,
there's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell. And engines that continuously use Shell V Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
There are a couple of pop culture items I want to get to here involving David Blaine and The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. But before we do that, Christine Lisi, you were saying.
And finally, Elvis Presley wore a star across a Star of David and the Hebrew letter Hi. He didn't want to, quote, miss out on heaven due to a technicality.
Ah, nice.
How about that?
Mistake.
Okay, wow. Okay.
Did I pronounce the Hebrew letter
Hi.
correctly?
Yeah, you're fine. It was the mistake right before that.
I know.
So you're at 5 right now.
Christine, do you feel like an added pressure? It's not fair what
I
we've
do.
done to you.
It's going in my head as I'm reading stuff. I'm like, man, he's got like a little tick, like a little check mark.
It is. It's not fair what we're doing. We're putting on.
I'm doing my best.
We're making her read every one of these like she's Jimmy Butler on the free throw line.
Listen,
she can't have any kind of hiccup. Everyone's watching. Nothing's normal about it.
It's the chair, okay? It happens to everyone. It gets everyone. It doesn't matter if the chair's down here, if it's up in Bristol. The second you start doing updates on the show, the most professional, okay? Pros pro, they become unprofessional. I'm sorry about that.
Thank you, Christine. We appreciate it. We continue to contaminate every bit of her professional work. Thank you for being on with us. So David Blaine does this crazy thing yesterday, and I don't understand much of what David Blaine does. I don't think it's quite magic, although it's magic for the modern day, because he seems more like a daredevil than a magician, like the evolution of both like David Copperfield and Evel Knievel. And so how do you explain what he was doing yesterday? How unsafe it was. He just went with a bunch of helium balloons into the sky. And did he get up to 25,000 feet? It seemed horrifying. It seemed scary. A lot of people were watching it. He continues to push the boundaries on extremities that feel like at one point he's basically replaced Harry Houdini for the modern age. Like whatever famous magician you think of,
He's an illusionist. I mean, he doesn't fancy himself as a magician. I think he almost looks at it as an insult if you call him that.
But what is he? Is he a daredevil? Like, is he an illusionist? So. Because what he was doing there was not an illusion. He was dangerously high in the air, being held there by what it seemed like was just a bunch of giant helium balloons. Now, it seemed more dangerous than what the Wallendas do. with all of their wires. He did have a parachute, right? Because he had to get down eventually. So I suppose he could have, if he had fallen from those balloons, he wouldn't have been falling to his death. He had the ability to parachute down from there.
Yeah, he had a way out, Dan, from being, tens of thousands of feet up in the air. There was an escape plan.
But is that okay? But some of the stuff that he does with, holding his breath or whatever, is he actually ever daredeviling in a way that risks his life?
I mean, have you watched the TV specials? I mean, he's in a block of ice for 3 weeks. It's incredible. Yeah, this is pushing the body to the limit. Dan, that's the real magic.
Yep. His initial goal with the balloons was 18,000 feet. He ended up floating 24,900 feet, 4.7 miles, and then he skydived down. So he did have the parachute.
Is it? So skydiving and then parachuting, I suppose, is what he did. In less daredevil news, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has gotten the word jabroni into the dictionary. Jabroni is now in the dictionary. It should be in the dictionary. Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Le Batard Show. Are you offended that jabroni was not in the dictionary before now?
The Iron Sheik is mad.
He should be.
He's super mad because The Rock popularized jabroni for a new generation because this was wrestling slang. This was part of the lexicon backstage, and the Iron Sheik was one of the founding fathers of this. So he's all mad that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who, by the way, just announced that he and his entire family is recovering from COVID-19, is getting all sorts of credit for this.
Well, The Rock handles everything well. So The Rock, fairly amazing that this dude does not have many moments where people are finding him unlikable. We will find anyone unlikable for any reason. We will tear down a body of work now faster than we ever have in the poison well that is social media. And The Rock seems to do every damn thing well. And in this particular case, he also said, look, this isn't my word. I made it popular, but this is stolen from the Iron Sheik. Dwayne Johnson has a tremendous respect for wrestlers of the age of the Iron Sheik, given that, Rocky Johnson and it was his own father and Tony Atlas. They were like the groundbreaking black duo in wrestling that wasn't fitting like some stupid cliche that wrestling always likes to make out of its black wrestler.
What a compelling speaker. I don't know if you saw the video, but I spent 5 minutes of my morning toilet time watching this video, and he did it in front of the XFL helmets, which just look great. I'm so excited because how can this league fail with that leadership right there? He's going to be president one day. He will be. I'm not joking. He's going to be president. He will be president.
The league's failed with everyone. That's how it's going to fail with The Rock. It's not going to work. You think it's going to work with The Rock, really?
Okay, so tell me if you've heard this one before. Struggling franchise. It's already tried to get off the ground multiple times, and The Rock comes in and saves it. You're a big fan of the Fast and Furious franchise. You should know better than anybody. The Rock has saved franchises that have tried rebooting more than once. This is going to be an absolute smash hit with The Rock.
It's ridiculous saying the Fast and Furious was struggling. I'm not even gonna comment on that.
There is everything before Fast 5 and then Fast 5. The Rock saved it. Now, Vin Diesel does get the last laugh because The Rock was like, I'm going to do this Hobbs movie and it's going to kill. And that one bombed.
Here's a franchise The Rock never saved, a professional football team, because he got cut from them.
Wow. Why are you lashing out at the likable Rock?
I think it's more the XFL.
After me with Fast and Furious. I'm sorry. You came after me with the Fast and Furious, and I wasn't going to have it.
Okay. You have vigilantly defended against any Fast and Furious slander.
I think this is more an XFL thing. Mike, why do you want this to work so badly? I mean, no one wants this to work more than you want it to work.
It wasn't bad last year. It was fun. The advancements, the games were good. They were onto it, and the pandemic ruined everything. I really enjoyed the games last year. I thought they were doing good things. It was unfair. Right. So I think The Rock, under his leadership, future president of the United States of America, can absolutely take a product that was on the up and up, delivering in the TV ratings such that it was, and make the most of it.
I'm not rooting against The Rock or the XFL, by the way. It's just one of those things where it kind of just feels like they found a sucker to buy the league that no one has been able to make work, right?
I understand your skepticism, but what I would say is that The Rock found something in the bargain basement bin and can lend with his credibility and name and very little of his own money, can actually make a gamble on maybe I can make this thing work because I'm that popular and I put my name on things, whether it's tequila or anything else, and people buy it up because I'm the biggest, not just action star in the world, I'm also the biggest somehow I'm the biggest movie star in the world. I make movies every 10 minutes and none of my bad stuff sticks to me, and people eat up everything else I'm doing. This is like some side bargain basement discount bin investment. I'm not saying he will make it work. I'm saying he's got a better chance than just about anybody to make it work at a bargain price.
Yeah, and his ownership group, also recently purchased a French soccer club. Relationship goals for The Rock and his ex-wife, who is actually like on the books as the chief owner of the XFL. Despite a divorce, and we all know how that could be and how it could wreck a family and relationships, she's still been his manager, and he's still putting her in places where he can empower her, and now he's just following her lead. It's, something to be envious of.
Pay that man his money.
This is a paid advertisement for Batard and Friends because Stupidity is out now, Stugotz,
Yes.
and it was a good conversation. I'm glad we're having it.
It was an important conversation. I had to have it. It was part 2 of our conversation as we continue to keep the conversation going, and me and Stanzik continue to listen along with our audience. So it's about an hour long. We did this back in June. We had a roundtable discussion with some employees at ESPN, Tarika, Shannon, Cliff, and Roy, behind-the-scenes employees at ESPN, talking about all the issues going on in the world right now. Very informative, very good, a tremendous job by the 4 panelists. I got to sit back and listen and learn. Stanzik got to sit back and listen and learn. Hopefully you will do the same today.
Hey, it's your homie. It's your home. I know you don't like it when I call myself your homie. So I have some favors to ask you. Could you get rid of a few chairs in the living room? My floorboards are tired. Another easy thing, we could save money if you bundled your home and car insurance with Geico. One more thing. I know you love lavender-scented candles, but could we try Tahitian vanilla? I think it would fit my vibe better.
Geico. For bundling made easy, go to geico.com today.
ESPN Radio, excuse me, $2.
That's the second time today that you.
That's not true.
It is the second time today. I didn't even bother to call you out on it before, but yes, that sounded like the coronavirus. We're all putting on our masks now.
Should I put mine on, or?
You owe a couple of dollars.
There's a 20 in there that covers me for at least a week.
It doesn't
and no
cover
one
you
wants
for
to touch
anything.
my money anyway.
It doesn't cover you for anything because it just covers the amount of mistakes that you made yesterday. You owe $2. Please continue.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. If there's a game, someone's betting on it. Stream Better Days, the new Mike Greenberg hosted series about epic sports betting stories told by the bettors themselves. The series premieres on ESPN Plus this Thursday, September 3rd. Stream new episodes every week. It's only on ESPN Plus because Greeny does not have enough shows.
The rare combination of Stugotz being phlegmy, totally phlegmy, running out of breath while reading, and then being jealous because a guy who's better at him, better than him at those things. What was that?
You don't think Mike Greenberg's better at this?
Debatable. I mean,
at reading? You don't think he's better?
Reading, he's definitely better at me than reading.
At having less phlegm?
He is. He's a bit phlegmy. Greeny will. He's a friend of mine. He would acknowledge that he is a bit phlegmy. Not
Publicly
as phlegmy as me.
I don't think of him as publicly phlegmy.
You're probably right. He's a better writer than I am. He's better looking than I am. His paychecks are bigger than mine. He's better at everything than me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he just took one of your hours.
He took one of my hours, didn't call me. I learned that from Andrew Marchant, New York Post, I think. Listen, just he's better. He's better. He's better than me at everything, and that's why I'm insanely jealous. But I have pitched so many shows to ESPN Plus, and I would just like to get one on. Good ideas, and they're always rejected. In waltzes Greeny with his third idea, and he gets it passed in 5 seconds.
What are these ideas that you've pitched to ESPN Plus, and how have you gone about it?
There is a great show about me. It's it's kind of a golf show, but it's not. So I play 9 holes with let's say Kenny G. Okay. And we make a bet. We meet in the clubhouse. There was a bet before we go out and play 9 holes together. And then me and Kenny G, we go out and play 9 holes. And now there are in-game bets. But really what it is an interview, 9 holes with Kenny G. Okay? And you take the best parts, you edit it together. There's a payoff at the end because one of us will lose the bet. And every week I do it with a different celebrity. And so this is a really, really good idea that I have pitched several times to ESPN Plus. And no one has accepted my idea. I happen to think it's a fantastic one, but no one wants to roll with me. So
this I was in on this idea. Stugotz had me do a lot of the legwork here, put together, big PowerPoint presentations for people. It's basically comedians in cars getting coffee, but Stugotz on the golf course. That's what we were going for.
Exactly right. I mean, it's a good idea because I maintain, Dan, that, you get to know someone the best on a golf course. That is when you get to know someone the best. You spend 3 hours, 4 hours with someone in a golf course, in a golf cart, and it's just you and that person, and you have to generate conversation. You'll know very quickly if there's any chemistry, if you guys get along. That's where you get the most out of people on a golf course. I'm telling you. You would still be doing the art of conversation if you did it on a golf course. I mean,
put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Le Batard Show. Do you get to know people the best on a golf course? Also, did I hear you guys deciding during the break that now the Miami Heat don't need Giannis? Is that what you guys decided? It felt like you guys decided during the break, never mind, Giannis, you could stay over there with your losing. Is that what happened?
I mean, we just basically were saying, all the Heat fans, that's all you hear them say. They want Giannis, and Giannis best player around. But we're watching this series. Is this what it's going to be every playoff for Giannis, where it's just he's a different player in the playoffs than he is in the regular season? I don't know. I mean, I want him, but I'm just asking the question, Dan. I'm pulling to you.
You're just asking the question because it felt like the group decided in the break. Billy, did the group decide in the break that the group does not want Giannis anymore after 2 playoff games here? Or, well, if you throw in the first Orlando game, maybe you're holding 3 games against him. Maybe you're holding all of last year's playoffs against him.
Well, so this is how it happened, right? We were talking about how Skip Bayless is pretty incredible because right after the game, obviously, he just tweeted out Giannis, overrated. And then we were saying, man, can you believe that him and Stephen A were on a show together for such a long time? History's going to look back at that and be like, wow, we didn't appreciate that enough. Not that Max is great, but I mean, Skip is just, and Stephen A together. Anyways, so then they were talking about how there's rumors that Giannis might go to Toronto or Miami. And then we're like, do we want him? Because are you going to break the bank for someone who you can't really depend on and not even a big moment? There's no fans there. Is it the playoffs? Is it not? We still haven't decided on that one. And you just can't get it done, it doesn't seem like.
You would agree if the Heat win this series and Giannis does come here, it's still Jimmy Butler's team, right?
No, I would not agree with
what?
That. I would not.
Well, you need to take him at a discount, right? If you want to build around Jimmy, not
seriously,
Giannis.
This is what you guys are going to do after 2 games? This is what you're going to do.
I mean, in the playoffs, isn't the whole point of this is that Giannis needs a number 2 because he's going to get quadruple teamed in the playoffs. That's just how it's going to go for him. So you need a Jimmy Butler to be there for you.
Is he technically a veteran yet? Can you get him at the veterans minimum or no?
Okay, very good. So this is 2 more of these for the Miami Heat and the entire city.
You got it over in 4?
Two.
Like, we're having a ridiculous conversation right now, but
are we?
If we're having a serious conversation about this, is there an argument to be made that maybe Giannis is just a different guy outside of the playoffs?
We are not having a serious conversation about whether or not the Heat want Giannis.
Geico knows there are many reasons why you ride. From the thrill of the revving engine and pure adrenaline of flying down the highway to the confidence of knowing that Geico always has your back with 24/7 access to claim service. But Ari Snyder has one reason in particular.
I had extremely large upper arms. They won't even fit into most shirts. Thankfully, biking really embraces vest culture, so I feel accepted.
Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. Could save you 15% or more.